Nope.
How about now?
Nope.
How about oh? Bow, name. It's Mike. This is the very supreme broadcast of honor podcast. Drivecast, yep. I'm riding down the road. I'm recording this shit. Listen to me now. I've got a show. I make it up as I go along, cause you know it is the best place to be to get your games, reality, and news. And my views, everything I'm saying right now is made up, just like the show. If you don't like it, shut up and just go. There's lots of people that like when I talk about things and stuff and such. That's the way I get shit done in this life. You should try it once. Maybe you'll get a whole pile of friends. Welcome to the very supreme broadcast of honor podcast, Drivecast. It's Mike, and we're here today to talk about girl gamers and gaming girls. This subject is always coming up these days. It's a bit of a hot topic. It's a bit, it is controversial. It's a bit upsetting to some people. It's a polarizing topic in that you usually take a side or there are many sides, I guess, to this. You can see it from many different points of view. And just before I hit record, girl gamers and game girls and gaming females just popped into my head as something I could talk about. So we'll see where this goes. So just before we get started, just want to thank you for listening, and we are still looking for, it's just me, the entity of the very supreme broadcast of honor, is looking for theme songs for this show. I hope, it's not like a permanent thing, I'd love to feature somebody's theme song. Just sing about games, or sing about this podcast, sing about me, sing about the very supreme broadcast of honor, something I guess related to the podcast somehow. But I'm looking for theme songs. It's fun. It'll be fun. Trust me. Just do it. Just grab Audacity. It's a free recording program. You got your little microphone there. Boom. You're good to go. Just record yourself. You could say poet. You make up a silly poem. I don't know. Something. Just do it. Do it. Do it. So this topic it's going to lead, I think, in a few different directions for me, but it's something that needs to be discussed more and constantly, because there's some, the YouTube, Twitch culture is it's a rich culture. It's very deep now. Twitch, especially with the streaming, as I mentioned in previous podcasts, it really is taking off. I'm now seeing more and more YouTubers make the leap over to Twitch and barely do anything on YouTube, or at least really cut down on it. As I talked about in the other podcast, the future of gaming, the future of game watching, I really do feel that live show with the chat interaction it's so much more, you feel more a part of it than you do if you're watching a YouTube video and then you make a comment. It's kind of like on YouTube, you're just sort of an anonymous person, and no one knows that you watch the video, kind of thing. But if you're in the chat, you build a community. It's I don't know, I just like it better. Anyway, getting off topic already. But YouTube and Twitch, they have very rich cultures in that there are communities, and when you build a big community and culture tends to follow with it. So what I mean by that is it becomes sort of meta. And what I mean by that is the world of the YouTube community around one channel. Let's say it's a really big channel, or even the very Supreme Broadcast of Honor. I mean, we have our own culture. I mean, and it's developing. We have burritos, we have epic bottle throws. We have Sexy Cam now on Twitch. We have, the radio tower was part of the things that we do. We've got people doing lots of art now. It's a culture. So what happens is, yes, it's one thing to begin with. It's a Twitch stream or it's a YouTube channel. But as the community grows around that, with that in the middle, it starts to emulate other things outside of life. And I don't know if I'm explaining that clearly enough. Obviously, that's sort of a half-formed thought there, but the rest of the world permeates that YouTube channel or that Twitch channel. So things that matter in the real world matter in that YouTube community or that Twitch channel. Things such as, you get to know people better. It becomes less anonymous and more human. It becomes more of a society rather than just a one-way entertainment piece. So with that comes rules, regulations, laws of quote-unquote the real world, the world in which the channel lives in and the community lives in real life. The real ethics and morals and laws and everything, they do apply. I mean, laws and things like that already apply, just to exist in certain cultures. But definitely morals and ethics start to come into, the morals and ethics start to come into, I got a cop here. Let's see if I get pulled over for speeding. It might be something that happens today. Let's find out. Nope. Not today, folks. Not today. So, not that I speed. Not that I do any sort of speeding. That's not something I do. I could have been going 5 or 6 kilometers over the speed limit, but definitely wasn't though. Anyway, so morals and ethics tend to come into play. I mean, they should come into play right from the beginning. I'm making it sound like you can operate a YouTube and Twitch channel without morals and ethics. But you can, and people do. But as the community grows, these things become more and more important. And as YouTube itself grows, and as Twitch itself grows, these things become more and more important. And you start to see some questionable things more and more as it grows. What I really wanted to talk about was the quote-unquote girl gamers, and that, of course, that title has some negative connotations to it nowadays. It's not. I mean, originally a girl gamer was a girl that gamed, but now it has negative connotations attached to it. Now, girl gamer. Are you a girl gamer? Girl gamer seems to imply, and it really doesn't have to, or it shouldn't, but it seems to imply a girl who is maybe not truly, I don't even know, truly a gamer. And I talked about that briefly in another podcast. What's a gamer? But, you know, it seems to imply, here's the mental picture I get now when someone says, oh, she's a girl gamer. I picture a thumbnail of the girl, or, you know, a stream or a video with the girl in it on cam showing off cleavage. That seems to be what they want. That seems to be what the culture of the gaming world wants us to think when somebody says girl gamer. That's the negative stereotype that's been applied to the term girl gamer. So let's be, this is a sort of a touchy subject, so let's be as honest as we can about it. There are girls who will show off cleavage and put themselves in thumbnails, or, you know, be on cam that way, or, you know, for a Twitch stream or a YouTube stream. So there's a lot of things you have to address there, because that is because they're not breaking any laws or rules of the service. That's their right to do that. They have every right to show cleavage. Okay, that's not against the law, and as long as it's not what YouTube calls overly sexualized or too revealing, and I guess that's up to YouTube how they decide what that is, and same with Twitch, I imagine. And I've seen a lot of deep cleavage on both of those services. Then it's really, to be honest, it's really nobody's business if a woman wants to do that, or girl, or whatever. It's as long as it's, you know, within the accepted guidelines of the service, and it's, you know, it's legal, whatever state, province, country, local laws apply, as long as they're not breaking any laws, and it meets the terms of service, then legitimately it's nobody's business. Now, when it comes to that's just flat out, okay? That's the way it is. That's, if that person wants to do that for whatever their own reasons are, then that's that. That is, you know, it's, if you don't like that, don't look at it, don't comment on it. It is the way it is. It's that person's business to show off cleavage. Just, I mean, I don't, like, some people get angry because they feel that person is using cleavage rather than all the other tools that people use to get attention or to entertain, tools or concepts or activities or whatever. People feel it's unethical, or it's degrading to women as a whole, or they're personally offended as a woman, or personally offended as a man that this person's doing that for a number of reasons. You know, like there's all sorts of things that go on. That people protest against that, and it's really, I understand that, you know, there's also jealousy there. There's also, you know, people who do work hard without showing cleavage or using a sexualized theme or whatever on YouTube and Twitch, and they do fine, or they don't do fine, and they might be offended or they might not be offended. Everybody's different. But really, when it comes down to it, it's that person's body and it's that person's business how they want to do that. So if you don't like, and if you, honestly, if you're just like, I really hate girl gamers, if that's the stance you want to take, just like a very offensive, like offended stance, that, you know, that this person is just getting views by men and women who want to just look at the cleavage, or enjoy, or get, aroused or sexually excited, or excited at all because there's some cleavage there. Like, those people watch because of that, then that's what they watch, and that person who is let's say they're intentionally showing off a lot of cleavage, they know what they're doing. They're doing that on purpose for their own reasons. Again, maybe that's how they may not be doing that just for Twitch or YouTube. They may feel comfortable that way. They may dress that way all the time. That may be part of their culture, or it may be part of their, you just don't know. Okay, so don't assume that just because somebody's showing off some cleavage, don't assume anything. It's their body, it's their right. If they had a shirt malfunction and they didn't know about it on Twitch or something, you could just point it out. But I'm pretty sure most of the time it's done on purpose. Regardless, people watch and they like it, great. The person's doing it because they want to and they like to, great. If you don't like it, don't watch it, and it's probably best not to be super negative and judgmental about it. Now, I know how hard it is to get known or seen on YouTube. I know how hard it is to get known and seen on Twitch. There's a sea of people. Like, as soon as YouTube opened up the partner program, or the monetization program, I should say, to everybody, then that was the time when YouTube became saturated. And now, with this fundamental switch over to live streaming, and YouTube tried to catch up on that, but their service, in my opinion, still is way behind. It's really not convenient. The chat is just, the delay is way too long. It's not interactive enough. But anyway, people are flooding over to Twitch now. I forget what my point was, of course. But it's hard to get known. And that does rub some people the wrong way, because they work so hard without the benefit of the people watching just to look at cleavage or whatever. Now, like, I understand that would make some people upset, but you should, if you're upset because you don't have that asset of some cleavage, or you're not comfortable showing cleavage, or that's just not your thing. You're just not a person showing cleavage, and you're upset. Those are the two factors there. And you're upset because someone else is doing it. Just remember that you have your own. That's not something that you embrace for whatever reason, and that's fine. But you have your own traits that can help to get yourself known on YouTube and Twitch. And I did a podcast about that recently. I think it's the last one, or the one before that from this podcast, that I talked about how to grow your YouTube and Twitch channel, kind of thing. Listen to that for some tips. You've got to do PR, and you've got to do all the things. So don't worry that someone else is using that for their gain, or don't worry if they just happen to have some cleavage and whatever. So that I'm focusing on cleavage because that, again, to me, in my mind, when someone says, "Oh, she's a girl gamer," I picture them being upset about their cleavage. Other things that the negative stereotypes around girl gamers might be, they're all, they have makeup on and they look like a model, or they're very pretty and they're just using, their nice makeup and their good looks, again, to get views. And all these things, the cleavage and the makeup and the good looks and stuff, they bring in gamers because they quote unquote play games. So, but they're not really playing games. They're not good at games, is another negative thing that you might hear. And it's like, well, I'm not good at games, but I call myself a gamer quite often. But I think all that, and I talked about this before too, all that really qualifies, you just have to play a game and you're a gamer. It's like you watch one movie and you're a movie watcher, or that kind of thing. Anyway, people get upset because they're using either intentionally or not attractiveness, makeup, whatever all these negative stereotypes are, cleavage again, or oh, they have large breasts, not showing cleavage, but they have large breasts, so and they wear tight shirts, or they just have large breasts, so that's why people are watching. And it's like, again, there is an audience that does watch just for that, and that's their business, and it's the business of the YouTuber or Twitch streamer, that's the situation. Yeah, I'm just thinking about this a lot because it's a very controversial subject. Again, if you may not agree with me on my views, but this is just kind of how I see it, If we want to talk about, this kind of leads into sort of talking about morals and ethics. I myself, and to have some realism here, I can talk about my own experience on YouTube. Obviously, I don't have breasts or cleavage, so I can't really talk about that. I'm not an attractive male or female, in my opinion. Well, that was worded so well. Wow, I'm not an attractive male, in my opinion. So I don't, and I'm not young. I have a lot of things against me that way, but I don't focus on that because it's out of my control. But in my experience, I still have some experience with this because I want to talk about YouTube thumbnails. And this is something I can talk about my own struggle personally with YouTube thumbnails and the names of YouTube videos specifically. I like to think that I'm ethically conscious and morally conscious a lot of times. I try to pay attention to that. I work in social work. I'm really attuned to that stuff. I try to be. We're all human, so sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes we make bad judgment calls. Sometimes people around us might make bad judgment calls or make mistakes, or maybe they're just flat out, not aware of that what they're saying or doing offends other people, or maybe they just don't care, and that's the reality sometimes. So, for me personally, I have used the depiction and words of sex, and I as well as having, I just got to pass this person here, as well as having a social work background, I also have a marketing background. It's sort of a secondary thing that I've done in my life. I have a social work diploma and also a marketing diploma. So from a marketing standpoint, you learn a few things. You learn that sex sells, and that's sort of very common. A lot of people know that these days. Sex sells. Sexuality sells. Nudity sells. These things are a constant and always will be. And that's because we're human, and as humans we experience sexuality, sexual feelings, sexual thoughts on a daily basis. It's part of human nature. It's part of our physiological and intellectual makeup. It's an actual physical process. We are programmed heavily to procreate. That factors into a lot of our lives, is procreation. And I'm not going to get heavily into all this stuff, but it boils down to sex sells. For men and women, it's not just men. It's not just straight men. It's not just gay men. It's not just gay women. It's not just women. And all the different ways that people identify their sexuality. I'm not going to list them all. There are quite a few. But sexuality is part of many people's lives. There's some people that it isn't as well. I don't want to stereotype people here. That's me trying to be as ethically and morally conscious as possible. Some people aren't like that. Some people don't have time or don't want to make time for that in their life, and I'm not criticizing anybody. Certainly it'd be great if everyone was trying to be more open and morally and ethically conscious about things and understand individuals, but I'm not here to harp. So I should get off that track right away. I'm just sort of stating my viewpoints in different ways. Totally lost where I was going, as the Drivecast dictates. Oh yes, so ethically and morally for myself, and going back to YouTube, I have personally used pictures of men and women that are sexualized, along with words or phrases in the titles of my YouTube videos. And I'm not saying a lot of them, but excuse me, got the hiccups. Pardon me. So I admit to that because it is something, as somebody who is trying to bring in attention to my channel on YouTube and Twitch. It hasn't happened on Twitch really, I don't think, but YouTube specifically. You know, especially when you start out, there is some desperation, there's some despair that happens especially in the earlier stages of being a YouTube channel, where your videos just aren't getting seen no matter what you're doing. So the odd time, it's very tempting to use the formula that sex sells in order to at least get some views on your videos. Now, it's pretty shitty, and I admit that I really thought long and hard before doing it. I felt that it was still appropriate I wasn't just doing it out of nowhere. There was some context in terms of the content of the video. So that's how I justified it in my own mind. And I'd really, for my future self, want to steer away from that as much as I can. So, you know, I do apologize for doing it in the past. I feel bad about it, and that's that. I'm not going to dwell on that, but I can think, like, there was a live stream song where the name of the live stream song ended up being Boobs, or the Boobs song, because when I was singing the lyrics that people were putting in the chat, it was mostly about boobs. And I don't mind, you know, it's an adult channel, like it's 18 plus is what I put on the Twitch channel. You have to accept, you know, that it's adult content, or it could be adult content. There's nothing like that on YouTube. I think they should implement something like that where there's a warning at the beginning of every video. You just click OK that you're okay with adult content, or that you acknowledge that it could contain adult content. I think YouTube should get into that a little bit. Anyway, it was like a boob song, and it was requested that it be a highlight. So I moved it over to YouTube and turned it into a highlight on YouTube. And I called it the Boob Song, I think. If you go back through the songs playlist, you can see it there. It's either called Boobs Song or The Boobs Song. And so right there, there's, you know, it's the Boobs Song. And then the picture, the thumbnail I used was a girl in a bra. And there's no face. Or like upper, like from the neck up, it's just basically the torso. It's a sexualized picture of a woman. And that, at the time, I thought, well, no, you know, again, there's that thing in the back of my mind where, like, it's justified because there is, you know, it's the boob song. So how can I show that in a thumbnail? Because the thumbnail is very important on YouTube. It catches people's eye and it draws them in. It's not the title so much at first. First it's the thumbnail, then it's the title of the video that may be the secondary enticement for them to click. So I used that, and my justification in my mind was, hey, it's the boob song, and here's some boobs. And I tried, I remember I tried to find a quote-unquote tasteful picture of how can I represent boobs. I can't show actual boobs. So I found a bra, it's fairly tasteful, whatever. It's still a sexualization of women, and it's for the use of getting attention to get someone to, and it makes you feel icky, and that icky feeling lets you know that it may not be right. It may offend people. It may, it's not right in a way. So I feel bad about that, and in doing that and just allowing it to happen, I'm contributing to that whole, the sexualization for it's almost exploitation in a way. So I'm not, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because in me doing that, I'm not really helping the culture that I was talking about way before. I'm not contributing to a healthy culture. I'm not contributing to a mindful culture. Yes, that's, to some people that is entertaining or exciting or stimulating, and that's what they're looking for. But there's adult entertainment, which is a whole separate thing for that. Like, I'm not an adult, I'm not a sexual entertainer in any way. I'm not an adult entertainer. So for me to use that, is that right? I mean, it's a moral and ethical thing. I have a bad feeling about it when I did it. I shouldn't have done it. For me personally, I don't think it's right for myself. So, again, morals and ethics. You can think about that for yourself, whether that's something you're okay with, whether it's not. I'd love for you guys to comment below the YouTube video of this podcast. Just let me know. Let me know what you think about it. Do you feel that, this quote-unquote girl gamers, do you think that they shouldn't be doing that? Do you think that it is a negative thing for other girls? Do you think that it's, that person's business? Do you think that, do you think that, these thumbnails with either a hunky guy with ripped abs and the shirt off, or a girl in her bra, or a bathing suit, or in a sexually suggestive position, do you feel that those things are negative? Do you like them? And there's no judgment. I'm not going to judge you about it. I'm just really curious about how you feel about it, because we're all a big community here at the Very Supreme Broadcast of Honor. We're a big YouTube and Twitch community as well. So I'd really be interested to hear your views about this topic. I know plenty of girls, females, who play video games and have a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel, or both, or whatever. I have no judgments about them, personally. If however they present themselves to the world is how they're comfortable presenting themselves. And again, as long as they're following laws and terms of service, in my opinion, it's all good. If I'm offended, if I feel offended by how they're presenting themselves, then I won't watch. It's that simple. I won't click the subscribe button. I won't click the follow button on Twitch. I won't follow them on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere. I'll just move on, because that's the thing. You can move on. If you're offended, you can move on. If you feel that, it's tough, right? Like, do you comment? Are you going to put a comment saying, hey, cover up your boobs, or hey, show more boobs, or hey, why you're just good on YouTube or Twitch because you're pretty? why would you hold that against somebody, or why would you even comment on that? It's just jealousy in some cases. But again, if you are truly offended and that you have a right to be, then move on. It's probably the safest thing for you to do instead of getting in a huge debate. Or if you do feel like it, just put your comment. Just say like, look, I'm personally offended by. I don't know. That's getting into a whole other debate. I don't want it to go there about whether you should or shouldn't comment. Freedom of speech and all that, and YouTube is a fully open forum for that, and the content creator can delete your comment if they want. It's fully, I really shouldn't make a comment about that. If you want to comment, you can. If not, then don't. But my advice or my opinion is to just move on. There's plenty of other people. You can put your energy into positive things like complimenting people that you do like, it's such a tricky thing to comment about. But the YouTube comments, if you have to leave one, just try not to be a troll about it. Make it constructive criticism, saying, hey, I know you're trying hard here, and I just wanted to mention, like, however you identify yourself, or I'm personally offended, or just say I'm personally offended because of this. Just want to let you know that it may affect other viewers, but, great gameplay. I don't know. That's totally, that's a whole other podcast is comments. That's trolling and commenting. Maybe I should make one about that if I remember. Anyway, to restate my opinion, I think that we're a huge community. I applaud anybody, girl or otherwise, that is playing games and doing this whole gaming content thing on YouTube and Twitch. Good on you. However you identify yourself, not just girls, so everybody. It should be inclusive. Do what you're comfortable with, and have fun, and hopefully you don't get too much harassment. However you present yourself, it's hopefully people will just move on if they're not entertained or if they're not comfortable. If you see something that's inappropriate, that's definitely against terms of service or a law of some sort, report it to the service. That's the best thing to do. Again, goes back to when I was talking about the trolls on Dota and stuff like that, but trolling on YouTube and Twitch. Just don't be a troll. Hopefully you'll know enough to move on. Anyway, that's going to be this podcast for today. Thanks very, very much for listening all the way through here, or skipping ahead, however you enjoyed this and you're listening to me at this very moment. Thanks very much. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying what I'm presenting on the Very Supreme Broadcast of Honor. I do upload some game videos and some other highlight videos from the Twitch stream, and some music and things like that. Have some exciting projects coming up where I want to do some more music. I haven't done music since the blocks. I mean, we do music on the Twitch channel all the time, but an actual music project with maybe some animation or something like that. I'm looking forward to doing that in the future. Check us out on YouTube, which you're already doing. I always launch into that first, but you already know because you're here. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/TVSBOH, facebook.com/TVSBOH, twitter.com/TVSBOH. Definitely follow us on Twitter for latest updates and to stay current with what I'm talking about. I'm on Twitter quite frequently throughout the day. We have some big announcements coming up soon, so follow there. You guys are awesome. Check you later. Burrito! The podcast is over, and I was glad that you were here. If you ever need a pick-me-up, just send us a tweet or watch our videos or live stream, or just sing this song. I like burritos, I like burritos, I like burritos, man. I like burritos, that's the end of the podcast.